All right, everyone, please settle down, take your seat. This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting was included in a list of meeting dates sent to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on January 7th, 2016, and was posted on the bulletin board of Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue on January 7th, 2016, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. Fire exits are to our left and to my right. Please speak into the microphones if you come up to speak, and assistive listening devices are available. Sergeant O'Lara, would you lead us, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Bill Mittler.
Here.
Councilman Erickson.
Here.
Councilman Fine.
Here.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin.
Here.
Councilman George.
Here.
Councilman Walsh.
Here.
Councilwoman Wolkowitz.
Here.
Borough Administrator.
Here.
Borough Attorney.
Here.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the adjourned meeting and the organization meetings held January 5th, 2016, and the regular and conference meetings held on January 19th, 2016, as distributed?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Erickson.
Yes.
Councilman Fine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin.
Yes.
Councilman George.
Yes.
Councilman Walsh.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wolkowitz.
Yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Foster Dublin, would you please join me and the Chief of Police and Sergeant O'Lara up front, please?
Mayor, before we do that, can we have a moment of silence for,
I was going to call for that a little bit later.
oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. Do I need the mic?
Yeah, for the television.
Sing. No, I said sing.
This is a proclamation from my office and the council to you, Joseph O'Lara. Whereas Joseph O'Lara proudly served his country in the United States Navy, and whereas Joseph O'Lara began his career with the Borough of Highland Park in 1993 with the Water and Sewer Department, whereas Joseph O'Lara was hired by the Highland Park Police Department on August 11th, 1994, and graduated the 61st Basic Training Class at the Middlesex County Police Academy on December 20th, 1994. And whereas Joseph O'Lara was assigned to the Patrol Division upon his graduation, and whereas Joseph O'Lara was promoted to the rank of Sergeant in 2007, whereas Joseph O'Lara, during his tenure with the Highland Park Police Department, was assigned to the Traffic Bureau, served as the Office of Emergency Management Deputy Coordinator, the liaison to the Civilian Emergency Response Team, and as Supervisor of the Youth Officer. And whereas the Borough and residents of Highland Park wish Joseph happiness for many years to come with his wife Mary and their 3 children, Anthony, Joseph, and Maggie. Now, therefore, I, Gail Brill-Mittler, Mayor of the Borough of Highland Park, do hereby proclaim Joseph M. O'Lara devoted employee and true friend of Highland Park. And on behalf of the residents and the staff of Highland Park, I do hereby commend Joseph for his dedication to Highland Park and congratulate him on a well-deserved retirement.
Thank you, everyone. It's been an honor to live and work in Highland Park. I got to make a lot of wonderful friends in Highland Park. I want to thank all of I call my brothers and sisters in blue. You have no clue how much I care for you and wish you the best in your future. There's two guys right now I'd like to say thank you to, and you've been a role model. Scott, Steve, you guys have been amazing these past few years. Scott was my training officer, and I'm sorry I didn't turn out the way he...
Well, you know what I got before?
And you didn't do half bad. But more importantly, I want to thank my family. The nights I couldn't sleep because I had to go to work, miss any games every once in a while, but I tried my hardest to raise you up the right way, and I can only thank your mother for that, because your mother was my rock. So that being said, thank you very much, and I really do thank your kind gestures.
That's the next item anyway.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for what a great turnout for this. As you know, this is one of 2 council meetings per year that's set aside to honor our first responders who we think handled some calls that deserve extra attention. All of our first responders are here. Chief of the Fire Department, Jay Littman, Captain Patrick Bollinger from the First Aid Squad, and members of their department. We appreciate you all coming for your support. Tonight, we are honoring Police Department for 2 incidents that occurred. The first one, I would ask Detective Pardo, Detective Newton, Detective McGraw, Officer Garrity, Officer O'Mara, and Officer DaCosta to step to the front, please. Two lieutenants, Lieutenant Hamill, Lieutenant Panicella, and Captain Golden, you want to come up and share in this, please? Okay. We've selected these officers for a call that started on August 11th, 2016. The officers responded to the Wells Fargo's bank on a call that individuals were attempting to cash fraudulent payroll checks. During the quick response, due to the quick response and ability to develop suspect information, 5 individuals were immediately taken into custody. The arrest of these 5 people initiated a much wider investigation that lasted quite a long time. Ultimately, it led to the apprehension of 11 other individuals on charges of passing bad checks at banks and check cashing businesses that encompassed Middlesex, Somerset, Union, and Monmouth counties. So this was a large investigation that turned out to be quite wide scale. Detective Theodore Pardo led the investigation, was assisted in various stages by Sergeant Jason Culver, Detective Donald Newton, Detective Sean McGraw, Officer Kevin Garrity, Officer Brian O'Mara, and Officer Chris DaCosta. This is an excellent example of teamwork by the Highland Park Police to achieve a common goal, and the great relationships that we maintain with other law enforcement agencies within the state. Sergeant Culver cannot be with us tonight, unfortunately. Each individual will receive a proclamation. I will read one because they're all the same, but different name. This is from the mayor and council. Whereas on August 11, 2015, Wells Fargo's bank reported individuals attempting to cash fraudulent checks. Whereas Sergeant Jason Culver, Detective Theodore Pardo, Detective Sean McGraw, Officer Kevin Garrity, Officer Brian O'Mara, Officer Chris DaCosta responded to Wells Fargo's bank, and whereas through their quick response to the scene, the officers were able to obtain information which led to the apprehension of 5 suspects. And whereas Detective Pardo and Detective Newton conducted interviews in which information was obtained that initiated a wider investigation for fraudulent checks being passed throughout 4 New Jersey counties. Whereas a total of 16 people were arrested and charged in a plan to pass bad checks and collect $100,000 from local banks and check cashing businesses. And whereas the efforts of those officers represent the best traditions of solid investigatory work and devotion to duty. Now, therefore, I, Gail Brill Mittler, Mayor of Borough of Highland Park, do hereby issue this special commendation to the following police officers in their role, quick apprehension of suspects, which resulted in the development of information which resulted in the arrest of the suspects. On behalf of the people of Highland Park, I offer them my heartfelt thanks for a job well done and for keeping Highland Park safe. In witness thereof, I hereby set my hand this 12th day, July 2016, signed by our mayor, Gail Brill Mittler. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I would now ask the captain and our chair of public safety, Elsie Foster Dublin, to give out the department ribbons to these individuals. Great job, gentlemen, and thank you very much. It's fine work. Appreciate it. Okay, our second incident involves a CPR save. I would ask that Officers Garley, Schiffner, DaCosta, and Officer Giles, I believe, is out on the road on a call. The other officers, if they would step forward, please. Okay, on January 17, 2016, at approximately 5:51 a.m., Police Headquarters received a 911 call from 19 Bernard Street stating that an elderly male had fallen and was unconscious. Patrolman Garley, Patrolman Schiffner, Patrolman DaCosta, and Patrolman Giles responded to the scene. Both the Highland Park First Aid Squad and the Robert Wood medics were contacted by dispatch. Upon arrival, the officers observed an 85-year-old victim lying unconscious on the floor of the bedroom located on the second floor. Officers immediately began life-saving procedures. Officers DaCosta and Giles took turns performing CPR, while Patrolman Garley and Patrolman Schiffner took turns using the oxygen bag valve mask. The AED, that's the automatic external defibrillator, was utilized while CPR was being performed. The victim was shocked a total of 2 times. The victim began breathing shortly before medics arrived on the scene. The Highland Park First Aid Squad arrived on scene shortly after the medics had arrived, and the victim was eventually transported to Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital. We understand the victim was treated, eventually released from the hospital, and cannot be with us tonight since he moved back to his home country of Bulgaria. So we are giving... I'll read the proclamation first. Again, proclamation from the mayor to each of the officers. Whereas on January 17, 2016, a 911 call was received reporting an elderly person unconscious at a Bernard Street residence, and whereas Officer Sean Garley, Officer Kevin Schiffner, Officer Chris DaCosta, and Officer Elena Giles responded and located the victim unconscious, and whereas Officer DaCosta and Officer Giles performed chest compressions, while Officer Garley and Officer Schiffner provided respirations, whereas the automatic external defibrillator was utilized and provided 2 shocks to the victim, and whereas the Highland Park First Aid Squad and paramedics arrived on scene and transported the victim to Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, whereas the efforts of these officers contributed to the survival of the victim. Now, therefore, I, Gail Burrow-Mittler, Mayor of Borough of Highland Park, do hereby issue this special commendation to the following police officers for their role in coming to the aid of a person in need: Officer Sean Garley, Officer Elena Giles, Officer Chris DaCosta, and Officer Kevin Schiffner. On behalf of the people of Highland Park, I offer them my heartfelt thanks for a job well done. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand this 12th day of July, 2016, Gail Burrow-Mittler, Mayor of Highland Park. Give them the proclamation. Thank you very much. A job well done. Thank you. I would just like to add, although we've selected 2 incidents in the first 6 months that warranted special attention, we thank the officers, the members of the First Aid Squad, members of our fire department. They do fantastic things every single day, and many times it doesn't get noticed. I'm certainly aware of it. I think the Borough of Highland Park is lucky to have such volunteers. Everyone does a great job, and we appreciate the cooperation with the emergency agencies. So thank you once again, everyone, for being in attendance and for your service.
You just all saw some of the wonderful heroics of our police department. I can't begin to tell you how much we appreciate all the work of our men and women in blue, as you all say, our fire department, and our first aid squad. I want to thank you all for everything you do for us. These last few weeks have been heart-wrenching for many, many of us. And as Councilwoman Foster Dublin started to ask before, now that we had a chance to see the wonderful things that our community does for one another, I think it's time for us to take a moment and remember all the lives that were lost over the last couple of weeks, and the additional over 2,700 people who were killed by gun violence since the Orlando episode. So let's take a moment and remember all of them now. Thank you, everyone.
Just one last thing. I'd like to ask our 3 new police recruits to step forward, please. Many of you may know, if you don't, we hired 3 new police officers. They are currently recruits. I wanted to introduce them this evening. While it's very, very sad to me personally to lose Joe Alara to retirement, because he was more than an officer to me, he's a true friend. So while we're kind of losing one Alara, we've gained another Alara. So this is Joseph Alara Jr., who will be training to be a Highland Park police officer. He's from Highland Park, obviously. And then we have Sade Edens, who is from Piscataway, and she's involved with the first aid squad over there. And then we have Bryant Fitzgerald, who is also a graduate of Highland Park High School and lives in Highland Park. We're not in my 31 years, I don't believe I ever seen any relatives of officers get hired. And we try to pick the best people we can. But Officer Fitzgerald's grandmother did 25 years in our department. He was a very good officer. And we have her grandson here, and Joe Alara's son. They just had orientation yesterday at the academy. They're probably still shell-shocked a little. They start in earnest Monday. So they'll be in training for 6 months, and hopefully things will go fine. I'm sure they will. And in December, at our next meeting, that we have the first responder award ceremony. I hope that we can formally swear them in, and we'll tell you a little more about them, and we look forward to them joining our department. So thank you very much, and best of luck in the police academy.
They're in my ways.
And at this point, we would like to invite you all into the lobby for some refreshments in honor of all of the officers you just saw today. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn for cake? Motion. Okay.
Cake.
Edens, who is from Piscataway, and she's involved with the first aid squad over there. And then we have Bryant Fitzgerald, who is also a graduate of Highland Park High School and lives in Highland Park. We're not in my 31 years, I don't believe I ever seen any relatives of officers get hired. And we try to pick the best people we can. But Officer Fitzgerald's grandmother did 25 years in our department. He was a very good officer. And we have her grandson here, and Joe Alara's son. They just had orientation yesterday at the academy. They're probably still shell-shocked a little. They start in earnest Monday. So they'll be in training for 6 months, and hopefully things will go fine. I'm sure they will. And in December, at our next meeting, that we have the first responder award ceremony. I hope that we can formally swear them in, and we'll tell you a little more about them, and we look forward to them joining our department. So thank you very much, and best of luck in the police academy.
They're in my ways.
And at this point, we would like to invite you all into the lobby for some refreshments in honor of all of the officers you just saw today. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn for cake? Motion. Okay.
Cake.
All my council members, are we all here? Okay. Do I have to have a motion to go back into session? No?
No, we don't.
Okay. All right, we're back. Council reports. Councilman Walsh, would you start us off, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, we'll be voting tonight to authorize a flag football pilot program for the fall. We're going to use this program to evaluate its success and determine if it makes sense to have an ongoing flag football program. Registration for this program, if enacted by the council tonight, will start July 14th. And then also in other rec programs, the youth fall soccer is actually registering now. And then all other programs will start, fall programs will start registration on July 27th. And these are everything from juggling and basketball, volleyball, chess, and more. You can find out about these programs by visiting the rec center or going to the rec center page on the Borough website. Summer camp is going really well this summer. We have 175 campers per week between the day camps, sports camps, teen camps, and special need camps. People can still register for the camps and also add weeks if they would like to do more than they had initially signed up for. Sports camps this week are baseball and track. Day camps have been playing backyard games, group banner design, and they also did a day of Dressed Like a Hollywood Star. Upcoming trips are going to be doing a trip to the Keensburg Water Park, Hellier Woods, Rutgers Gardens, and the Liberty Science Center. I Play America, which is really exciting. There's going to have a pool day, and this pool day happens every Friday. Campers this year, all campers are getting a free healthy lunch, and the borough is able to do this by partnering with the City of New Brunswick's Play Safe Nutrition Program, which is sponsored by the New Jersey Department of Agriculture, and to make sure that all the campers are getting a nutritious meal. We opened up cooling stations in the borough last week due to heat. We sent out information about this via our Nixle program, email, and social media channels is also published on the borough website. If people didn't get these notices, they can sign up to get these important notices on the cooling centers and other things on the borough website. There's a lot of information we send out about various things going on in the borough, street closures, heating and cooling stations, things like that people need to know about. Also, I'm excited to let folks know that Freeholder Rios will be visiting our senior center on July 26th at 10 a.m. To share information about county programs available to our seniors. All residents are obviously encouraged to attend, even though the program is focused mostly on our seniors. And also, it's not too late to register for the trip to Ocean City, Maryland. This $400 trip includes transportation, 3 nights accommodations, 3 breakfasts, 2 dinners, guided tours to Assateague Island, opportunities to visit shops, casinos, beaches, boardwalks in the areas. And finally, I would like to first recognize the huge success we had at 4th of July this year and offer a tremendous thanks to Andrea and Kim, who played a big part in coordinating the logistics for the day, as well as our public works team, the police, fire department, and first aid teams were all on hand to make sure that everyone was safe and could enjoy the fireworks. One last final thank you to our sponsors, Unity Bank, Aunt Elsie's Homestay, Mason Griffin and Pearson, and the International Association of Heat Frost Insulators and allied workers who helped make this event come together. And it was also a really great fundraiser for the first HP Give a Hoot big fundraiser we did in conjunction with Park Stock. We raised over $500 for this program, and a big thank you to Bea and Sophie, 2 of our volunteers who helped lead the kid activity areas during the 4th of July celebration as well. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman George.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank the members of the parking study group. The meetings have been very fruitful, very loud, in that everybody's expressing opinions. They're really very well engaged. Reading the material that Jeff Perlman, who's acting as the vice chair, and I assembled. Our next meeting is next Wednesday. We will be continuing to discuss 2-hour parking in the commercial zones, and starting in the next month or 2 to start working on the parking element of the redevelopment plan, so that we are in a position. We'd like to hold a public hearing and presentation. I have 2 executive directors of 2 parking authorities, very different, one Newark and one the city of Passaic.
in sort of a roundtable discussion with public participation. We'll hold that off. It'll likely be October due to everyone's schedule. They are volunteering to speak with us. So that's been very active, and it's really looking productive. The redevelopment agency didn't meet this recently, but at their meeting before last, they did pass a resolution asking the borough to start the work and looking at it, expanding the redevelopment area by what's called legally an area in need of redevelopment. So that will be hopefully up for discussion in the fall. The planning board, again, the meeting is Thursday night. I urge you all to come. The business at hand will not be an application, but will actually, Mayor, be discussing the recommended changes or resolutions of support for the Sustainable New Jersey program. I'd like to thank in advance Judy Shade-Monk, who put in a lot of work as the designated working person for the planning board to look at those recommendations after the large group meetings that we've had. So they'll be up for discussion, and hopefully you'll get to see them at the next meeting in the resolution form. Main Street Highland Park, the Arts Fair is September 25th. They're already very much in it, actively working on it. I was speaking to the executive director and the promotions committee tonight at a meeting earlier than this one, and they're already actively involved in putting the fair together. But on Friday the 29th is the annual New Jersey Tomato Festival, celebrating one of our best-known positive products as opposed to those of my Italian heritage. And at the Tomato Fest, the hours are going to be extended to 7 o'clock. There are going to be events. I was in attendance because we'll be doing cooking demonstrations. I volunteered to do that. We are having some hijinks with the Board of Health allowing us, so whether we're going to have open flames, I propose that, I'll pick up some induction cookers for everybody if that's what we want to do. So we are trying to work that out. We only have 2 weeks to do it, but we kind of have a menu to present. I volunteered the day to appear with other people to do cooking events. So it sounds like a lot of fun, and it sounds a little bit different. They have other events planned. If you notice, the farmers market, it's been rearranged a little bit. There's a lot more area circulation and a lot more vendors present, which is really a great thing. It shows in our 20th year it continues to grow and continues to meet the needs of our residents in our neighboring communities. Finally, the board chair's quarterly meeting will be tomorrow at noon for the chairpersons of the respective boards in town to meet with myself and the mayor to share concerns back and forth. What do you want your boards to have the borough look at in the near future, and what does the borough need from the boards to pay attention to? So I'm looking forward to that as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Erickson.
No report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Foster Dublin.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things to report on. I want to follow up with Councilmember Walsh to thank everyone that participated in our 4th of July celebration, especially our public safety area, our fire, our police, our first aid, Office of Emergency Management, and our CERT team. They were out in full force and keeping us all safe, and it was a huge event. And again, thousands of people attended, and I want to thank everyone that participated and kept everyone safe and made it a wonderful, fun-filled event. Speaking of fun, we're going to continue to have more fun, and National Night Out is going to be August 2nd. It starts at 5 p.m. If there's a rain date, the rain date will be August 4th at 5 p.m. So come on out. Every year we're one of the largest National Night Out in the county. So we're encouraging everyone to come out, celebrate with us. There'll be safety demonstrations, there'll be giveaways, and I believe that there's going to be helmets for people who are riding who are riding their bicycles and don't have helmets. You'll be able to get some helmets for National Night Out. And if you don't have helmets, you can always stop in our police department, and I believe that you can get a free helmet there. So it's all about keeping us all On another note, I'm still going to stay in the line of safety. We as a country have had veterans that have supported and kept us safe and secure our borders, and we hold them a huge debt of gratitude that we cannot pay. And with that said, freeholder Charlie Tamaro and the county is doing a Middlesex County Salutes Veterans. And the freeholders are inviting all veterans and their family free of charge to see South Pacific, and that's going to be from August 1st to August 3rd, and it's a free event for all veterans and their family members. We have flyers that we'll be putting around, so please, if you know of any veterans, make sure that they get this information because we really want to say thank you. With that said, going a little bit back to Dallas, and we had a moment of silence for the officers that were gunned down in Dallas. 2 of our own Highland Park officers will be attending the ceremonies in Dallas, and that's Patrolman Satchel and Detective McGraw. They will be going to the funeral services and paying their respects, representing Highland Park. And that's made possible through JetBlue Airline, and again, sad event, but I'm glad that our officers will be there to show us support from Highland Park, and residents of Highland Park will send their best wishes to the families who are obviously hurting. Last but not least, we've had the opportunity every year for the past 3 years. I come to the council and I says, we're having people from Yele, and everybody go, what is Yele? And Yele is Young African Leaders Initiative. This was a program that was put together by Nelson Mandela and President Barack Obama. And we're about approximately 35 African countries, young people between the ages of 20 to 35. They come to the U.S. to gain various skills and understanding about government policies, how things are operated. They come from all different spheres of life, and they have done something like extraordinary well in their country. We have 2 of those fellows with us here in Highland Park. One of them is 21 years old, and she's from the African country of Benin, which is a French-speaking country, and she started an English program there that teaches approximately 2,000 people how to speak English, and she's going across the country to put this in place. And we're fortunate enough to have her, and she's been shadowing the mayor, council president, some of our council members. She's visited our fire, police, public safety, both of them have, and they've been learning a lot from us in Highland Park, and we're happy and proud that we could lend our support and our staff and everything else to welcoming them and to hopefully sharing a part of their world and expanding. Thank you so much. That's my report.
And Councilwoman Foster Dublin, can we make sure we get that information about South Pacific into the Veterans House that we have? Okay, thank you.
I did.
Okay.
I sent it to our chief, and he sent it out to all public safety. I also sent it over to the Veterans Home through the Reformed Church, and they're going to make sure it gets sent out.
Fabulous. Thank you. Councilman Fine.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one item that I'd like to mention. I'm glad to report that the Library Board of Trustees has informed me that the Highland Park Library will be open on all weekends from September through December this year. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very good news. Council President Welkowitz.
Thank you, Mayor. On tonight's agenda, we're voting on a proposal from PSE&G. Nearly 3 years ago, when our then new mayor organized a meeting at the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities to ask for improvements to provide more stability and resiliency of our power source for our borough, this in the aftermath of the blackouts caused by Hurricane Sandy and Edison substation fire. The BPU suggested that we perform a solar feasibility study for the borough, school district, and other buildings in town. Through this analysis and the further exploration of opportunities for improved, reliable power to our residents and businesses, we were made aware of PSE&G's Solar for All program. Earlier this year, we issued a bid, and last month, PSE&G presented a proposal to install a solar array in Highland Park. The presentation has been posted on social media. Thank you, Gary Leslie, for doing the video. And it's also, there's a link also available on our website. As part of PSE&G's Solar for All program, they are required by the BPU to produce a certain amount of solar power each year as part of the energy they generate and distribute to all users. They have been searching the state for underutilized properties such as contaminated sites, brownfields, or expansive rooftops to install such solar fields. Highland Park's Upper Meadows, we believe, could be a good fit. The Upper Meadows was the old town dump, closed to dumping in the 1960s, and sitting idle since that time. It's much too costly for the borough to undertake a cleanup. Our role in this proposed project would be to lease the land, for which we would receive approximately $35,000 a year in rent. All installation and maintenance costs will be the responsibility of PSE&G. They would also be using the installation as a research station to monitor solar power generation. Upon council voting in favor of the proposal, PSE&G will be presenting the full design to our planning board in around September. In summary, the benefits to Highland Park are we will likely gain improved stability for our residents in the surrounding dense neighborhood. We will generate annual revenue. It will improve the appearance and use of the underutilized land. PSE&G is offering to work with our borough planner to create an attractive and environmentally conscious design. We would receive important educational component, which would include a kiosk, which would be placed inside Borough Hall, informational displays on site, and organized tours would be made available upon request. It would also create another sustainable initiative and advance efforts to promote solar and alternative energy. We believe the project will contribute to our environmental conservation, sustainable, and resiliency initiatives. I'm eager to see this project move forward. It's been a very busy summer for our Complete Streets Advisory Group. For the past few years, we've been active in improving pedestrian and bicycle safety and sharing the road with vehicles. Our meetings have recently culminated in several important actions. In June, in conjunction with our public safety team, Public Works painted the curb on Volkert Street bright yellow and added a safety striping down the middle of the street to help keep drivers in their lane while negotiating the sharp curve. This summer, Public Works will add safety striping to important busy intersections by our schools. This is on South 11th between Irving and the First Aid Squad, on Mansfield and Grove in front of Bartle School, and also on North 5th and Montgomery between the high school and library, which is a busy intersection. Of course, all of these for children, but especially that last one, everyone uses it to get to the library. In the spring, with the help of Peter Bilton at Keep Middlesex Moving, the nonprofit group which helps towns in the county improve mobility and reduce traffic and pollution, he organized for a school travel plan. Our group, which includes code enforcement, public safety, borough engineer and planner, and resident volunteers, joined with key members of the school district to evaluate the routes children take to and from their schools. We walked the neighborhoods and took notes and photos and discussed the strong points and the problems that we discovered. On June 24, Mr. Bilton released the Highland Park School Travel Plan. I understand from the school superintendent that the schools will be carefully reviewing the comprehensive document and developing their own new policy based on that. Also using this document as a basis, the borough applied for a very large Safe Routes to School grant, which we submitted on June 27th. The grant would allow us to add ADA-compliant curb ramps, padding, and improvements around Irving and Bartle schools. This would help children and their parents walk and bicycle to school. It would encourage this culture of healthy traveling, and it would benefit all of the residents townwide. Furthermore, on August 26th, we'll take it one step further and perform a bicycle audit in much the same way. I'm looking forward to that very much. I'd also like to confirm the completion of the reconstruction of Valentine Street. The street looks great. There's been new striping added, which is now the thermal heat applique, so it's supposed to last a lot longer. I'd like to thank the Superintendent Scott Taylor for hosting 2 amazing workshops for board members, staff, and volunteers to review the survey results that help set the 3-year strategic plans for the schools. This is a major undertaking, which has shown transparency and inclusivity throughout town. It's a very important project, so thanks to everybody who's participated. I understand that the project will continue throughout the summer. Lastly, I'm very pleased to let the residents know that we've been awarded a $1,500 grant from ANJEC, the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions, and we're going to begin a birding program with that. We are now purchasing 10 pair of binoculars and cases, about 20 bird feeders that are going to be placed in our lower meadows, the Environmental Center, and the Native Plant Reserve. Our first birding event will be held Saturday, August 13th at the Environmental Center. The next event will be sometime in September at the Lower Meadows. Please look for announcements, which will be posted shortly. And I'd also like to thank everybody that participated in the Independence Day fireworks. It's a great all-day event, well into the evening, and a special shout-out to Highland Park Public Works and the County Parks Department, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Borough Administrator, do you have a report?
No report, Mayor.
Okay. Borough Attorney, do you have a report?
No report, Mayor.
All right, I just have a couple of items. Thank you, Councilman Walsh, for mentioning the Highland Park Gives a Hoot program. I want to thank everyone who volunteered to help us tote around the jugs of money to collect for this very worthy fund. Just so you know, over the summer, we still have children and people that need to be fed, and the Highland Park Gives a Hoot group has partnered with the Global Grace Cafe, and we are making free lunch vouchers available to children who do not have an opportunity to go to our camp for the free lunch there, so that they can be fed a lunch during the summer. Additionally, over the summer, the Highland Park Gives a Hoot program paid for 5 of our high school students who are away at a mentorship and self-improvement and evaluation camp up someplace in the woods of New Jersey, and they will be coming back and making a presentation to us sometime in the fall. Additionally, a big thank you to the City of New Brunswick for this year partnering with us on the fireworks, so that we didn't have to pay for the fireworks all by ourselves. It was a wonderful display, and I'm very happy that we could partner with our neighbors on the other side of the river. Just a reminder, we're about to start the collection of grant applications for our 2017 Park Partners Program. As you know, the Park Partners Program is our give back program, where we encourage residents to present a grant application for an idea they have to make things in Highland Park even better. There will be 5 winners, and by the way, our residents select the winners, and each winner gets up to $2,000 to help them make this project happen for the benefit of all of us. I want to thank Councilwoman Foster Dublin for mentioning the Mandela Fellowship Program. There are actually 3 students that we're working with now.
We inherited another one.
We inherited another one, and I have been meeting with a gentleman who's in the program who happens to be a mayor from the country of Botswana. And we've been sharing some ideas, and actually later this week, I have asked the chief of police and the fire chief to meet with, and our borough administrator to meet with me and my mayor friend from Botswana, because he's very interested in creating a fire department in their city. They do not have their own fire department. It's been fascinating for me to learn how they operate there. All of the money that they get into their municipality comes from the government, the country's government. They do not have taxes. All of the funding comes from their government. And there's much to learn about states and cities and municipalities all over the world. I really enjoy meeting with mayors from all over this globe. All right. Any public discussion? Okay, seeing none. Clerk, would you report on advertising the capital ordinance for water and sewer equipment for consideration of passage on final reading by title?
Capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of miscellaneous water and sewer equipment in the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex, appropriating $25,000 to pay the cost, has been duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance was posted and made available for public inspection as required by law.
Okay, may I have a motion to take up the ordinance on final reading by title?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any public hearing on this? All right, seeing none. May I have a resolution to adopt or reject and advertise the ordinance on final reading by title?
Motion to adopt or reject?
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes to adopt.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. Clerk, would you report on introduction of the lease ordinance for the capital equipment and improvement and financing program of the MCIA for consideration of passage on first reading by title?
An ordinance of the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, approving and authorizing the entering into, execution, and delivery of a lease agreement with the Middlesex County Improvement Authority for county guaranteed capital equipment and improvement revenue bonds has been duly introduced by the Finance Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to adopt or reject and advertise the ordinance on final reading by title?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt the following item?
Table number 24.
Can I go up to 23 then?
Just table 24, and then you can do the rest.
Okay. I'm going to amend that. May I have a motion to table item number 24, resolution to support the adoption of S2254, A3821?
Motion.
Motion
to table.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, may I have a motion to adopt the following starred items, 14 through 23 and 25 through 35?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. I am appointing the following: Jennifer Sinek to Digital Data Task Force. May I have a motion to confirm?
Motion to confirm.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. Any public discussion? Please come up.
Ruth Bickford, 307 Magnolia. I have a couple of questions. You said something about speed bumps. I didn't hear you too well. There was somebody said they were going to put speed bumps down, or
No, I don't think we said that.
Well, I would like to advocate for speed bumps, especially the north-south part. The cars are racing down as if, and they don't stop even at the intersection. They go partway into the street, and we hear
Right.
the screeching. My house is sort of a third of the way up, and I hear the cars on 3rd Avenue screeching to a halt because they don't see if there's a car coming towards them.
Yeah. Do you mention 3rd Avenue?
And the other issue I have talked about and complained about, and nothing seems to happen, and it's getting progressively worse now that it's summer, and that is people have bushes, shrubs, trees, and whatnot covering the sidewalks. There are streets where you can't walk.
Right. So, I don't mean to cut you off, Mrs. Picard. I believe there was someplace on 3rd Avenue that you had mentioned the last time.
Could be.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but that was on corner of, I think, Harper Street.
yeah, and I know that, vacations have been happening in the summer, so it's a little difficult, but I know that we had a discussion with our code enforcement officer, Mr. Brescher, and he is planning on going out to check the areas that you mentioned. But any time you find an area that you think the bushes need to be looked at because they're blocking areas, we do send someone out to take care of it. In fact, I remember we recently did something on
We're handling any I guess, complaints or any notifications that we get. So, really, if you see anything, just please try to let us know. We only have so much staff that is out there. Our public works crew is out there doing their garbage pickup, and they're driving in vehicles. They're not necessarily walking the streets like our residents might be, so they may not see it from the same angle that you do. So anytime you see something, if you can tell us where it is, we'll be out there within 24 hours usually. So it's just tough for us to see every corner and every street that may have an overgrown tree.
I invite you to walk with me tomorrow morning. No, tomorrow's not a good day. I have a 9 o'clock appointment. Tomorrow morning, come and walk with me with my 2 dogs, and I will, one in front and one behind me, and I'm in the middle. That's how bad some of the sidewalks are. I don't know whether the houses are occupied because their lawns are also overgrown. The one down that I've been complaining about for umpteen years, almost from the time I moved here at First and Magnolia. It's an empty building from Park Place. The shrub is completely covered this summer. They had actually laid some bricks onto the grass so that people could walk more safely.
Yeah, that falls into one of the areas that Council President and I have been talking about, which is quality of life issues. And we are going to talk further about how we can address more of those issues with a quality of life project.
Walk with me at 7 o'clock or whenever you do your walking.
6:30.
Then I will walk and you'll see them.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Picard. Okay, any other public discussion? All right, seeing none, may I have a motion to adjourn to conference?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.